Hey guys, so today I wanted to make a video to show you how to change the microphone in the iPhone 6. So during this process we're going to be using a few different tools. One of the tools that I'm going to be using is a suction cup tool, and I'll explain in a bit how this works. The other things that we're going to be using is a Phillips screwdriver size 000, and we're going to be using a small Torx screwdriver size 0. So I'll include links in the video description for these tools that I'm going to be using to work on this, or any parts that I'm going to be using during this process. I'll include links in the video description for them as well if you want to check them out. So first what we will need to do is in the bottom right down here there's two little screws, and we're going to need to use this Torx screwdriver, and we're going to need to remove these two screws right here. So next what we will do is we'll use this handy little suction tool. Now you can use another suction cup like these ones if you want, and you can just put them on the front here, but it's a lot easier to use this tool. They're not very expensive at all, and you can get these tools, and what they do is they attach on the front and the back like this. Now what you want to do is stay as close to the home button as you can down here, and if you have a cracked screen or anything like that, you just can put a piece of a tape over here like packing tape, and then you have something to adhere to. And so what we're going to do is just gently pry up on this screen. As you can see, mine came apart just like that. Now if you have to, you can use a little pry tool to pry in here. I have a little plastic pry tool like this, and what you have to, if you need to get it started a little bit, you can pry right under here just a little bit, and then once this thing lets loose, you can just go ahead and remove it. The next what you need to do is carefully pry up on the screen here. And then there's this plate right here, and there's 5 screws, and you're going to want to remove those, and make sure you keep those screws in the right order because some of them are different sizes. So next what we're going to want to do is remove this cover right here. I'm just going to use a tweezer so you can see easy enough. And then what we're going to want to do, I like to use this plastic pry tool because that way I don't short anything out for sure. You can use your fingers even if you want, your fingernails. But just go ahead and loosen this connector right here, and then just go ahead and loosen the connector right behind it, and then this one over here, just kind of in order as they come up, that you can take these apart. And so there's 4 connectors, and then the whole screen comes off just like that. So next what we're going to want to do is remove these 2 screws right here, the battery plate cover, and they're both Phillips screws, and you want to make sure to keep track of them because they're a different size. Then we can go ahead and remove this plate cover. Just pulls off of there. Next what we want to do is remove this connector right here, whether you use your fingers or a plastic pry tool. Then I would recommend disconnecting this battery connector right here, so we for sure don't short anything out. And then we want to remove this antenna wire right here very carefully, and it just pops right off of there. Next what we will want to do is remove these 4 screws right here. They're all Phillips screws, and they're probably different size, so you just make sure you keep track of where they go. So next we can just pry up on this speaker right here, and flip it over, and then this antenna should pop out of here. There's a little holder on this antenna. It should come out of this speaker right here. So next what you want to do is remove these 2 screws out of the vibrator here, and then you're going to want to remove all these Phillips screws that you see here. Just make sure to keep everything in the right order as you take it out. Next you want to grab this little plastic piece here by the microphone, set it aside, and you also want to grab this metal piece right here, set it aside. So next, to replace the charging port, which has the same part as the headphone jack and the microphone, they're all built into the same one. What we're going to want to do is, this thing is stuck down pretty good here with adhesive, but the best place I found, if you can start back in this corner right here by this hole, by this gold part here, it starts peeling up here a little bit, and then if you can get it to come up, what you're going to do is you can pull up a little bit on this as well to help it a little bit. You don't want it too much to tear it, unless of course you don't care about the part that you're replacing. But so what we're going to want to do is just carefully pry up on this, just pull up as you go, and as you can see it's kind of coming up here, and you just want to keep working your way around, and then when you get down here, this is all coming loose here. When you get down here, what I would recommend to do here is what you want to do is you want to use something and pry right in here. I'm just using my tweezers here, but to pry right in here where this microphone is to get it to come loose, because there's some adhesive sticking it fast. So on the headphone jack here, if you pry up a little bit on the back side here, and then if you get in one of these holes here, you can give it a little push. Just get it started a little bit. You can kind of wiggle it around as you're doing this too. But basically, once this whole part gets loose, then you just kind of have to wiggle it. Sometimes it comes out a little harder than others, but you can wiggle it back and forth, and then your whole part comes out just like that. Now this has the headphone jack, the microphone, and the charging port all in the same part. So to reinstall your part, if you have your new part might have film on the adhesive you might want to peel off. So what you want to do is just grab your part, set it right down in here. I would recommend doing the headphone jack first. Get that placed right in there, and then if you get the microphone stuck right in place, and then you can just line these screws up and just kind of tuck this in here in this little hole for the vibrator, where the vibrator goes. You can get that down and then kind of tuck this in and make sure that it clears up here, and then you can just press down really well for everything. And then what we're going to want to do is put our black plastic part in here by the microphone, and we're going to want to put our metal shield down here. Then you can go ahead and set the vibrator in here. Now there's only one way to put the vibrator, because it has a little notch over here that lines up with this hole here, so you can see right where it goes. It'll only go one way. So when you do that, then you can go ahead and put all the screws back in over here. Don't put this one in over here, any for the speakers, but just put all these ones in over here, including the vibrator. To reinstall the speaker, just grab this antenna wire right here and put this connector back on the speaker right here. And then you can set your speaker right down in where it goes. Just make sure it sits down nice and flat. Go ahead and put your 4 screws back in. Next, what you will want to do is reconnect this antenna wire right here. Now it's a little tricky, sometimes it takes a little doing to get it. And you'll just hear it snap right on. Make sure it's nice and good there. Then you can just grab your battery connector, pop that in, grab this connector, put that in, and then grab your battery plate connector and put your 2 screws back in. To reinstall the screen, just grab the screen, set it right down in here, and just start connecting the connector that's the furthest down, and just keep going in order. Middle one next, and then this one over to the side here. You can kind of feel them firmly snap into place there. You'll need to grab your shield right here and go ahead and put all 5 of those screws back in. Now if it's easier, what you can do is, if you get a couple screws in to hold this in place, you can kind of pull the screen off the side here. Just be careful to not pull it too far, so you can just rest it down and put the rest of these in. So to put your screen back in, just grab your phone, and if you kind of tip this up right here, this is a little hard to see because I still have a screen protector here, but just kind of tip it up a little like this, keep it apart, and then get the top started down in here first, and then you can just kind of press the screen in and just work your way down around. Make sure that it's in all the way around.